Today we're going to be working on the YJ. We'll go over setting up pinion angle on, this one has an 8.8 swap forward rear end in it, but we'll be going over setting up pinion angle and installing the rear drive shaft with a slip yoke eliminator and a double Cardan. This shaft is from Adam's Driveshaft. And it is ready to rock and roll. All right, so when you're setting up your rear end after you do your slip yoke eliminator, which we've got our slip yoke eliminator installed. It's been installed for a while actually. We pulled the drive shaft out to change a U-joint. But when you're setting that up, before you order your drive shaft, you're going to need to have your pinion angle close. And for a double Cardan like Adam's, like an Adam's drive shaft, double Cardan shaft, the pinion needs to point at the output and then down just a couple degrees. So to get that close enough to order a drive shaft, because it has to be close to order your drive shaft so that you can measure, I just took a string and made sure that my pinion was pointing at my output. Now, holding the string and looking, I can't do both, so you have to have somebody sight for you. And this is already set up, so I know that that's close actually. And you can use if you feel better about it, you can use something that's a square or something, and point directly at the output. But I'll also show you how to set up your angle perfectly with the angle gauge once we get the drive shaft installed, and that's what we're going to do now, install the drive shaft. So we've got our double Cardan shaft here. Here's the double Cardan end, it goes towards the transfer case. And since this is an 8.8 forward, we've got our adapter flange here to bolt to the 8.8. Got our bag of bolts. And put a little Loctite on our bolts. I guess it'd help if I turn it the right way. There we go. Just getting a bolt or two started here on this end. And down here, this bolt don't have Loctite on it yet, but I'm gonna stick it in there just to hold the drive shaft in place. Alright, so we're going to use this Klein angle gauge. If I can find it, I'll put a link in the comments or in the description or something. I think they're like $29. So now we're showing you how to set up the correct pinion angle for a slip yoke eliminator, double Cardan shaft. This will pertain to YJs, XJs, basically anything with leaf spring rear suspension and a double Cardan shaft. So we've got the drive shaft bolted in here. So now we can put our gauge up here, and we're 14.8. So the drive shaft's at 14.8 degrees.
14.7.
14.7, you know, right in there. And then we're going to come down here to this flat part of this flange. We'll measure it, and we should be
11.9, 11.7,
11.9, 11.8, 12, right in there somewhere. So on these, you want your, so I showed you earlier that you want your pinion pointing straight at your output shaft, but down a couple degrees. So we did that to measure for our shaft originally. We're just reinstalling the shaft now, but originally that's what I did. And then, so I'm at 14.8 here, 15 degrees, somewhere right in there. And then my pinion is down about 3 degrees, which is perfect. 3 degrees is perfect. That's right where you want it. So now we're just going to tighten up all of our bolts. They're just snug. We'll grease everything up and go for a test drive. So we'll go over what we're working on here a little bit. This is an 89 YJ. It's got a LS Chevy 5.3 V8. It's got a 5-speed transmission out of the Chevy, a 231 transfer case, but it's got the slip yoke eliminator. That's what we were showing. It actually fits in there very nicely. Nothing fancy, just a stockish looking setup. And we'll take it for a test drive and see if we fix the driveline vibration.